It's happening again. Hi everyone. I just wanted to say I apologize that this video is coming later than expected. There were a couple little snafus. One of the snafus was that just straight up procrastination. I'm not good at this. And the other problem being I was looking at the footage of the previously recorded video, and unfortunately there was a bunch of background noise that was getting in the way of the video, and it was very distracting. So I had to get rid of that take. I just want to establish this right off front, right off the bat. Sorry about that. That I've got the heater going in my room, so in the event you hear this weird humming noise, that's what it is. Now, let's get all that out of the way. Oh dear. So yeah, as you can tell in the topic of the video, I'm talking about my 10 worst. Before I actually begin, I want to go over two movies that hold an interesting distinction. They're not exactly what I'd call the worst, but they are movies that fit that same sort of general negativity vibe cloud, etc., etc. My most disappointing and my most overrated. Before I begin, this is just personally what I think. If you have issue with it, feel free to vocalize your opinion in the comment section. And not only does it go for these two movies, but it also goes for the stuff that's going to be in my main 10. And in 2021, as many good movies as there was also quite a bit of stuff that just simply wasn't good, or didn't work for me, or whatever. So, let's start off with talking with my most disappointing of the year. The new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old. Man, I've always rooted for Shyamalan. There was that period in time when he was making pretty bad stuff with movies like The Happening and Lady in the Water and After Earth. I still haven't seen Last Airbender, so I don't know what that is like. But when he returned in 2015 with The Visit, that cute little found footage horror movie, I thought he did a really good job with that, and then he followed that up with Split, which was great, and then he did Glass, which was a worthy finale to the Unbreakable trilogy. So when you tell me that his next movie is a horror movie about people who are rapidly aging on this island and they don't know what is the cause of it and they're trying to get off of it, I'm thinking to myself, after those past 3 movies he just did, fuck yeah, I want to go see this. And I watched it. I saw it when it was in theaters, to be precise, and in a packed crowd. And that creeping sense of disappointment was crawling in the more and more it went on. Typically, I'm not bothered by Shyamalan's preferences and how actors emote or what they say. Yeah, there are instances where it is really bad. But here, it just stood out to me in such a baffling kind of way. I was like, people do not talk like this. They do not act like this. And when you've got a Shyamalan fan like me who's saying that, we are in some bad waters right here. Not helping the matters is the way this movie's paced. I typically like the way Shyamalan paces his movies. He has this peculiar rhythm where he establishes this flow where it's like, it's moving, it's contemplative, it's understated, but you still know exactly what's going on, and you always feel like you're moving forward. There's patience to the pacing in his movies. Old didn't have that patience. It just felt like it was just zipping from plot point to plot point, and it was baffling to watch. I couldn't tell if that was the script's fault, or if Shyamalan's instincts were misplaced, or if he cut one too many scenes away from the final product. It's especially frustrating to have all these feelings while also watching a movie that has, honestly, a pretty well thought out story. Hell, I didn't even mind the twist of this one, with some really terrific technical craft on display. It was just a movie that I just kind of came out of it like, oh man, I'm still looking forward to whatever he does next, but for me, unfortunately, Old was a miss, so, oh well, what can you do? On the other hand, my most overrated movie, oh man, I know, this one's not going to sit well with some people. Sony Animation's The Mitchells versus the Machines. I know lots of people love this. This is probably the one movie that I know a lot of people are rooting to win Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards this year when that gets nominated. That's probably not going to happen because the Academy's loaded with a bunch of lazy fucks who always award the newest Disney movie the best of. But honestly, I don't think I could agree with the decision either because I thought this was one of the most irritating things I had seen all year in the year 2021. I won't deny that it looks fantastic, and there's bits and pieces about it that I did find amusing and fun and cute, but at the same time, watching it was just this exercise in watching a bunch of regurgitated meme type humor from the early 2010s just getting thrown right in my face at such a rapid pace. And not helping matters is that this movie has really contradicting ideas on how good slash bad technology and the internet is for you. I get it. We're on our phones a little too much. I get it. We should spend more time with the people around us instead of looking at those things. I get this. I get that. I get this. I get that. It's just, why are you combining that in the same kind of movie that has a lot of this dipshit internet humor in it? It was just a really baffling experience to me. And I also found it strangely emotionally manipulative in a couple of scenes. I won't spoil anything, but there's a moment towards the end where they play a Psycho song. Did I say that right? Psycho Ross? Feel free to correct me. That I've always loved from my childhood and my teenagehood too. And when I heard that song, I was thinking to myself, oh, you're really fucking going there? You're really going to try and pull on my heartstrings with that song? Screw you. Yeah, this was just something that did not work for me very much outside of the animation and a couple of bits of humor here and there. If you love it, good for you, but for me, I should also probably establish this right off the bat, but in comparison to the other video that I did, this one's going to be much more off the cuff. It's not going to be as polished, it's not going to be as nice looking, so I'm sorry if you're not going to get any chances to see those cute little cards that I made. The worst stuff does not deserve this. I'm still going to add a little bit of polish, which you're probably going to see in a moment, but I'm not doing anything fun like that. So, we're off to the races with the 10 worst. Yay! Starting with The Tomorrow War at number 10, starring Chris Pratt and being directed by the guy who did the Lego Batman movie, I think it was. This is like the definition of a background movie to me. In the 2000s or 90s, if this kind of movie came out, you would instantly see this on FX in the background while you're off doing something else. It's an alien invasion picture where Chris Pratt plays like, I think some ex-military guy who's trying to be a teacher or something who gets recruited into this futuristic war that's happening and yada yada yada. And it just feels like a checklist. It just feels like a very derivative checklist of a lot of better science fiction movies. Off the top of my head, I was seeing stuff like Edge of Tomorrow, Alien, Prometheus, The Thing, Starship Troopers, Tenet. I'm trying to remember some other ones that I was seeing that was just making me feel like I've seen every goddamn movie this rips off, but this has nothing to back it up to give it some kind of novel or distinct flair to it. But who do I know? This movie's so popular on Amazon that it's been greenlit to do a sequel, so I'm probably full of shit for disliking it. Who the hell knows? Number 9, a Netflix original called Hypnotic. It's nice to know Netflix is greenlighting movies that would have been in the offices of Lifetime original productions, except they gave them slicker production values and better acting. Still doesn't make them good. And I'm just going to go on a dumb tangent for a quick second, but it's getting a little bit annoying how much movies demonize the concept of hypnosis, because it is something that can actually help with one's mental state. It can be abused like any other tool, but it wouldn't hurt for movies to maybe portray the subject matter in a nicer context or something. Just a suggestion here, people. My number 8 pick, this is where the fun begins, where the true fun begins, because those first two, I don't like those movies, but these next 8 movies are the ones I really genuinely detest. My number 8 pick goes to Bo Burnham's Inside. I went into this thing unbiased as possible, completely open-minded. I'm not as familiar with Bo Burnham as many other people are. The only things I know him for are the following. That country music skit he did, which made me laugh my ass off, and the A24 coming-of-age movie, 8th Grade, which I thought was pretty lovely, all things considered. Within 20 minutes of the special, I was becoming irritated, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, this isn't for me. And then within 40 minutes, I wanted to take my television and smash it. I was so irritated by this thing. There is no thorough line. There is nothing here that made me latch onto it emotionally. What I felt like I was watching was not a study of an artist going mad in isolation, but was a random string of music videos barely strung together by the thinnest of narrative threads. I'm pretty sure people who are fans of Burnham got a lot out of this. And who knows, maybe I'd like his other comedy specials, but as it stands right now, I hated watching this thing. It pissed me off so much. I'm sorry, but it wasn't for me. My number 7 pick. Oh, what was my... Oh, wow, I can't believe I actually remember this one. My number 7 pick, Red Notice. There are many things you could do instead of watching Red Notice, a generic heist comedy starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I almost said Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. There's a great deal of many things you could watch or do instead. Around the same time that this movie came out, a movie came to Netflix that is very similar to it in a lot of ways. The 90s cult classic, Hudson Hawk. If you want yourself a goofy comedy action heist movie with A-list stars saying and doing the most ridiculous things possible, go watch that instead of Red Notice. You will be a much happier person. And at the very least, you'll actually remember what the hell happens in Hudson Hawk instead of the absolute generic blahness of Red Notice. Ugh. On the same day I watched that movie, I saw Dune in the theater, and the only reason why I watched Red Notice was because I felt like I had to put a balance to the universe after watching something as good as Dune, okay? I just had to. My number 6 pick. What was my number 6 again? Give me a second. I'm trying to remember what it was. Ooh, my number 6. Oh, I remember now. Malcolm and Marie. Another Netflix movie. Are you sensing some kind of theme going on here, people? Malcolm and Marie. Sam Levinson is a threat to cinema. Anytime he writes, when he sticks to just directing his actors and framing his shots and all that stuff, he's honestly very good. But anytime he's given the ability to write something out, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It is so baffling. What I wouldn't give to see this guy just take someone else's script and direct it, or at least have someone else help him out with the writing process, because listening to his movies between this and Assassination Nation from 2018, I can't believe that he thinks he's a good screenwriter after watching these movies. And man, watching John David Washington and Zendaya scream at each other in black and white film for a good hour and 40 minutes is not as fun as it sounds. And every time I saw John David Washington, that snazzy suit of his, I was thinking to myself, please be a Tenet sequel, please be a Tenet sequel, please be a Tenet sequel is the one I'm watching. But that moment never came, so thanks, Sam. My number 5 pick, Gunpowder Milkshake, Girl Boss John Wick. Do I really need to say anything else? Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Watching this was really trite and lame. It barely has any action in it. feels pandering in its kind of feminist attitude it's trying to throw down. It's generically named. It's just not so much the title itself, but just like a lot of the things that you see in it. If you actually decide to watch the movie, you'll know what I mean. Even though it has a great cast in it, a lot of it just felt like disposable junk. Once again, much like the Tomorrow War, this is also getting a sequel. And Red Notice. For all I know, I'm completely full of shit for talking crap about these movies, but I don't care. I didn't like them. My number 4 pick, probably the most baffling misfire on this list, Prisoners of the Ghostlands, starring Nicolas Cage. Cage has honestly been on a really good run for the past couple of years, starring in movies like Mandy, Color Out of Space, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Just within the same year he released this, he also put out stuff that was good like Pig, and hell, I even liked Willy's Wonderland, as dumb as that movie was. This piece of shit, on the other hand, by far and away the most bafflingly incoherent movie on this entire list. Every other movie I'm going to list down here, even though Prisoners of the Ghostland is at a lower position than what my next 3 bad movies are going to be, this is by far the most incoherent movie listed on here. How could a talented director like Sion Sono, who, within the same year, I actually encountered him by watching, what the hell was the name of it? Oh yeah, Why Don't You Play in Hell? A wacky meta Yakuza action comedy about filmmakers trying to make the ultimate movie, and they end up getting involved in a Yakuza war. Takes a while for it to get going, but once it does, it's pretty fun. This, right from the beginning, I was just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here? What the hell happened here? It is so baffling in what a miss it is, and it sucks that it is. Man, sometimes the greatest and craziest talents in the world, when they collide, they don't make for the greatest pair. That blows. Number 3, Infinite. Remember when I said Prisoners of the Ghostland was the most incoherent movie on this list? This is the second most incoherent. According to sources, director Anton Fuqua and Mark Wahlberg were reportedly pissed over the fact that this movie was not getting the theatrical release that it was supposed to get and was going straight to Paramount Plus. After watching the final product, I can see why Paramount dumped this onto their streaming service, because this movie's not good. It's not good at all. It's so bad. Oh, man. It plays out like, like your typical kind of Chosen One story kind of thing, but there's a reincarnation element. It's based off of a book that I've heard is actually a pretty great book to begin with, but I have no idea what the hell happened here. It's so incoherent. It has terrible exposition. I have no idea what the hell Mark Wahlberg nor Chiwetel Ejiofor are doing in this. And I was just kind of sitting there like, what the fuck is this? What the hell happened here? Ugh. Typically, you would expect a combination of Fuqua and Wahlberg to at least produce something that was, like, remotely decent. But that didn't happen here. By far and away, Fuqua's worst movie. My number 2 pick, The Little Things. This one was directed by John Lee Hancock, who is a director, I swear to God, has made it his career operandi to take interesting subject matter and material, sand all the edges off of it, and make it the most boring version of itself possible. And with The Little Things, a Seven-esque mystery thriller that was actually written before Seven came out, that he wrote himself. He seems to be doing this all along, because watching this was just so dull. First 20 minutes start off okay. I was sitting there like, really? This is actually a pretty decent opening. And there are some decent things in it. Like, it's got some decent cinematography, and Jared Leto shows up being the genuine weirdo he is, doing goofy shit on screen for however much time he has in this movie. But that's where my compliments for it end. This is one of the most boring-ass thrillers I've encountered in a long goddamn time, with a sleepwalking Denzel Washington on one hand, and a terribly miscast Rami Malek in the other. All I need to say on this movie is that if you do intend watching it, around the point when Denzel Washington starts talking to a corpse at a morgue and he goes on this long monologue that involves the title of the movie, that's when it just kept on going down and down and down and down and down and down, and it never recovered. Blah. So goddamn boring. So, time for my number one pick. Going back to one of the other movies that was on there. My number 7 least favorite, Red Notice. There was a joke going around at the time that Red Notice felt like a movie that was generated by AI. Like it was just something that was all created on an algorithm. Those same exact words could be applied to my number one pick, Space Jam: A New Legacy, directed by Malcolm D. Lee. I was a weird fan of the original. It's hard to exactly explain my relationship with the first Space Jam movie, because as a kid, I liked it. But I grew out of it as I got older. And in high school, I began to develop a grudge against it because a lot of my friends and fellow classmates wouldn't stop making fucking memes out of that stupid-ass theme song. Come on and slam. And I'm just sitting there just like, please stop this. And right from the get-go, the announcement of this movie just made me think, oh god, the meme lords have won. Fuck. But right now, I actually feel bad for those people, because you people didn't deserve this piece of garbage. This utterly soulless tripe that has almost nothing to do with the original, and is instead a glorified computer-generated ad for Warner Brothers. It is so baffling that in the same year that Warner Brothers gives us movies like The Matrix Resurrections, The Suicide Squad, Dune, Malignant, movies where talented filmmakers let themselves express their strange artistic visions however they see fit, we get something as utterly soulless, generic, and disposable as this fucking garbage right here. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Oh, not even Don Cheadle's hammy performance as the main villain, Ali G. Rhythm, gee, guess what that's supposed to stand for, can save this Drek. This is by far and away the worst goddamn movie of the year. Perhaps even the decade. Man, it's almost kind of an existentially depressing movie to think about. I know I shouldn't be saying that over a fucking Space Jam movie, but if you actually bothered to sit through this, you would know why I am saying this. Listen to me right now. How about you go ahead and watch that damn thing and know what the hell I'm talking about? Trust me, I know what I'm saying. Oof. Oof. Man, can't believe I just did all that. Oh goodness. It's even long. It's even shorter than my original video. I think that's a good thing. Well, anyway, that's my worst of. I'm looking forward to doing this again next year when I go over my usual yada yada yada. Hopefully, I'll get a good bunch selected on both categories. And I hope to see you around soon. All of you have a good day. Bye-bye.